Hello, welcome back to class. This is Dr. Estela Mwangaite, Assistant Professor of Political Science. Today we'll discuss post-behavioralism. In the last classes, we learned that behavioralism had dominated political science from the middle of the 1950s up to the 1960s. The question that came to our mind is, why post-behavioralism? What led to the decline of behavioralism, or what are the factors responsible for the emergence of behavioralism, or what are the limitations of behavioralism? And then, what is post-behavioralism? Who are its main advocates? What are its main characteristic features? These are some questions that we'll try to cover in this class. Just by looking at the term post-behavioralism, we know that it refers to after or later behavioralism. But the term has a deeper meaning, applications, and wider connotations. First, coming to the main advocates of post-behavioralism. Advocates of post-behavioralism could not be identified with any particular political ideology. It included political scientists from all backgrounds, of all methodological commitments, rigorous scientists, and dedicated classicists. Its followers can be found from all generations, from young graduates to old members of the profession. Please keep in mind that post-behavioralism accepts the achievement of the behavior era, but they seek to further political science towards a new horizon. In a sense, post-behavioralism synthesizes between traditionalism and behavioralism. In order to understand the meaning and the characteristic features of post-behavioralism, we have to know the limitations or criticism of behavioralism, which is also the factors responsible for the emergence of post-behavioralism. Dissatisfaction with behavioralism was the main reason that had catapulted into intellectual movement within and among political scientists. There was dissatisfaction with behavioralism with regards to the intentions, the methods, and even the achievements. In the previous classes, we learned that the two major achievements of behavioralism was in areas of theory building, and technical research. There was nothing wrong in the building up of various paradigms, conceptual framework, models, theories, and meta-theories. But what is also important in social and political science research has been research activities should not only add to new theory, new method and techniques. Research should also be relevant to society. It should also lead to solving urgent social and political problems of society. However, behavioralists detached themselves from the social reality. It was alleged that under behavioralists, political science had become too narrowly defined, too professional, too much identified with the established order. So there was a movement of protest or intellectual movement against behavioralism. Behavioralism were questioned and criticized for failing to look to the practical problems of society and for overemphasizing on research methods and tools. What kind of research was that which did not take note of problems and crises in the society? What was the benefit of developing sophisticated research tools and methods that has no connection with the needs of society? Political scientists should be able to comprehend social and political problems of society and also make his own contributions towards resolving them. Otherwise, the role of research and political scientists is futile. Many political scientists felt that behavioralism had failed to convert and transformed political science into a problem-solving science. Behavioralism was criticized for giving too much time on trivial and often irrelevant research. They were criticized for completely becoming unaware of the acute social, economic, and cultural crisis of the war, and they were also criticized for becoming irrelevant to society. We have learned from the previous classes that the behavioralists were trying to convert the study of politics into a discipline based on the methodology of natural sciences. This had generated some serious criticism. David Stern lamented that the behavioralists were taking refuge in their ivory tower, seeking to perfect the methodology, as if they were not at all concerned with the outside world. In his presidential address to the annual convention of the American Political Science Associations in 1969, he narrated how he felt dissatisfied with the political research and teaching made under the impact of behavioralism. He stern criticized the behavioralists for turning political science even to look more of mathematics than a science related to the realities of social life. In their efforts at research and application of scientific methods, the behavioralists had gone far away from the realities of social behavior. Thereby, political science has lost in touch with the current and contemporary world. The post-behavioralists were strongly against behavioralist attempt to make political science a value-free science. David Stern observes, values were an inextinguishable part of the study of politics. To understand the limit of our knowledge, we need to be aware of the value premises on which it stands and an alternative for which this knowledge can be used. The role of the intellectuals in society is not to cut off themselves from the realities of life, academic detachment, but to protect human values of civilizations. Dwight Waldo has also asserted political scientists should be more concerned with values, with issues of justice, equality, freedom, with political activity. In a period of stress, turmoil, and gross inequalities, it is responsible to carry on as usual in academic detachment. At minimum, political scientists need to be concerned with issues of public policy and political reform, and also with issues of radical social-political reconstruction. That is, political science must be relevant to society, and it must deliberate over basic issues of society. In a post-behavioralism, values came to be accepted as facts and given. Now we can attempt to define post-behavioralism. Post-behaviorism represented no complete departure from behavioralism, yet it was an intellectual movement and protest against behavioralism. Post-behavioralists were critical of behavioralism for failing to turn political science into problem-solving science and for giving too much time on research methods and tools. While seeking to consolidate the gains of behaviorism, post-behaviorism seeks to further rearrange the subject and research towards problem solving and crisis management. Relevance and action was the two main slogans of post-behaviorism. And the major post-behavioral tenets and tendencies are an emphasis on values, on issues of justice, freedom, and equality. According to David Stern, post-behavioralism was future-oriented, seeking to propel political science in new directions, and to add rather than to deny its past heritage. It was a genuine revolution, not a reaction, a becoming, not a preservation, a reform, but a counter-reformation. It was both a movement and an intellectual tendency. We'll close the class here for today, and in the next class we'll take up the characteristic features of post-behavioralism, focusing on the contributions of David Stone, which he called as the credo of relevance. Until then, have a good time and take care. Bye.